Some of you say you can't hear me. I'm as high as I can go. Welcome to America's Home Cooking. This is part 2 of the rye sourdough English muffins we're making. You need 2 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. Remember, you don't have to melt the butter completely till it's all melted in the pan, a saucepan, because the rest of the butter is hot enough that it'll finish melting it. Okay, we need 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, you did what you're supposed to do yesterday evening because I told you it needs 2 12-hour rises. So part 1 explains that. Now you'll notice this is dry up here. Don't take it off. We're going to stir it right in. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. That's the one beautiful thing about sourdough is you don't have to cover it up or anything. And if it gets hard, you just sit there and you're going to work it back in anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you need 2 teaspoons of salt. We're going to put, let's see, there's 6 cups here. That's like 2 tablespoons. We're going to put a tablespoon of caraway seeds in. If you don't like caraway seeds, you can leave them out if you wish. But I'm putting them in. Kathy, not this morning. So stop it. My cat. All right, you're going to need, I have to move this so I can pour this. You need 1 cup of buttermilk. Sandra, put the lid on or you're going to have it all over the place. So we're using buttermilk in this instead. It'll give it a tangy, yeah, I think it'll give a good flavor. With everything else that we've got in here, that should be more than enough. Okay, we're waiting for the butter. Pour your buttermilk in. Now, you're going to need cookie sheets or a baking sheet. You're going to have to grease it and then sprinkle cornmeal on it. I'm not going to sit there and tell you which cornmeal to use. I use whichever one I have. If you have yellow or if you have white, it doesn't matter. Though everybody says use the white because they don't want you to see what they're doing. We're waiting for the butter to melt enough that I can get it in here, and we'll start getting this together. So you can see, I'll turn you down as far as I can because I did tighten my phone up. I have a girlfriend who wants me to come see her and show her how to make sourdough. And then she tells me, but I don't like the smell of sourdough. And why are you going to make sourdough if you don't like the smell of it? You wouldn't like the smell of yogurt, buttermilk, sour cream. All of that is sour. It doesn't make any sense. Have a little bit of butter left. I'll just stir it around. The rest of the butter is hot enough in it that it'll melt it. You don't want to kill your yeast, so be careful pouring this hot butter in. Yes, you can kill your sourdough culture too, like any other yeast. All right. I don't need this. I'm going to the rest right now. Okay. Oh my, it's quiet this morning. Okay. Your flour mixture that we made yesterday, this is what we're going to be adding in here. We'll be finishing it up. We'll add a cup. and we'll do it until it's ready to be kneaded and rolled out. We'll just beat it with a spoon. You'll be using all of this flour. Sorry about that. I just dirtied your feet. I have so many different kinds of grains. I'm just wondering how many different kinds of English muffins we can make. I'm really going there. See, the yeast that you buy in the store is really fast acting compared to a sourdough culture, if you make your own culture. I'm still working on trying to make my own regular yeast. It's giving me some problems, but if this fruit doesn't work, I'm going to another one. And when I finally find the fruit, I'll let you know. Good morning, Lib. A laughing what? A lewd sent a laughing disco. Okay, thank you. And a flower, thank you very much. Okay. I just use the first part of your YouTube name because they're really hard to pronounce, some of them. Okay. Well, I'm just going to dump it. We'll go ahead and move ahead. We're going to use all this flour, don't worry. Now you're going to need a cutter, a pastry cutter. That's what they call them where I come from. I'm using a 3-inch, so my English muffins will be 3 inches. They want me to make 4-inch ones. I said no, if I want a sandwich, I'll cut a piece of bread, thank you. I have a lot of different flours, and I just think it's going to be interesting what we can do. Okay, this is going to go over here. We're going to work this in, all of this flour, then we're going to fix these, cut them out. Good morning, everybody. Mia, Lude, Wrangle, Yab. Okay. Okay, I can't pronounce some of these. Hi, Dilly. I will. But I will wish everybody good morning. But if they say something bad, I'm just not going to acknowledge them. Hi, Dilly. Good morning. Now we have to work all this flour in. So the only way I can do this is knead this in. So it's going to take a bit. Hi, Will. Total. Breakfast starts early. I'm starting it early. Bailey. Rye. Sourdough English muffins. Hi, Mia. I think I said that right. Please don't get upset with me. Navy, good morning. Just coming up. What are you making? Rye sourdough English muffins. In Washington State, yeah, it would be that time for you. You're on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. On the 8th, we're going to have Come Cook With Me. We're going to learn how and why we make biscuits and handle them the way we do. Yes, Dilly, from scratch. I'm Central and about time to go to bed. Oh, you must have worked the evening shift or stayed up all night. 5 a.m.? Yes, it's just turning 5 a.m. I've only been up for like 35 minutes. You couldn't sleep, David? Really? Yeah. Let's see. Moses, good morning. Why? Ista? Yeah, it's 5. Oh, sorry, yeah. No, I actually ran late. I get up at 4, but I didn't get up till about 4:30. So I hurried up and put myself together. And said I got to get down and get this going because I don't want it to go bad. Part 1 was yesterday. I showed you how to feed it. Yes, I did do videos. You can't make a sourdough culture. It takes a couple of days to do it, but I do have it. I think I did it in the summer, last summer. I also, for people who are really just cannot make sourdough culture, I gave you an address where you could buy sourdough cultures. I have 2. They're brothers. The one thing about sourdough is you've got to use, when I'm done with this, I will look it up and give you the ratio and how you have to do it. But the best time to start a culture, a sourdough culture, is in the spring when the microbes are really active, because you've got to catch them, and there's over 400 of them. So I hope all of you are doing well. Hi, James. That's my older brother's name, James. I know you'll need bread flour and water. I just have to get the ratio. I want to make sure if you don't have it the right ratio and it's too thick, they won't come. The microbes will bypass it. And if you have it too thin, it's too watery, they'll eat and then be able to get away. So you have to catch them where they get in there and they make a home. You're supposed to knead for about 15 minutes. Yeah, I live in the metropolitan area. Cooking classes are over the video here, and we're going to start that on the 8th. I think I marked it on my calendar. I'll do it at the end and tell you. All right, so I'm going to sit there, and we're going to start learning how to make things. Like biscuits is a very easy thing for you to learn, to start working and learning how to measure things properly. That's very important. You'll learn all of that, and we'll just work our way through it. Oh, my son has a friend out there in Long Island. I don't know their last names, but his name is Dave. And he visits him, and he's got another friend out there. I think my other son has a friend out there too. I'm not sure. So I will be telling you at the end of this. Well, I'll actually, when we go to put these to rise, I'll sit there and we'll talk about the sourdough and cooking classes, which will be done. Thank you, sir. You never have enough recipes, Navy. Believe you me, I've got 200 cookbooks, and that's not counting the recipes people have given me. You never get enough recipes. Every time you say, oh, I've got enough, nah, you never have enough. You can take it from me. I thought I only needed 1 cookbook, and then this one, I said, ooh, I like what I see in this one. Then I went to another one, and then one day I proceeded to count my cookbooks, and I almost have 200 of them. And that's not counting the recipes I've collected on the side. I've got the first cookbook in America. I have other people's cookbooks. And I know you guys have asked me to make a cookbook. I had never thought about making a cookbook and selling it. That's something that, though my son said, Mommy, that might be a good idea. And I said, that is a difficult thing to do. So I have to think about that. But I am doing it here. So we will be having cooking classes on this channel. I'm just trying to finish it up so we can get it made, and then I'll give you the recipe to create. But remember, you can't do it till really, it won't really go unless you do it in the spring. If you do it outside, you'll have to put a cheesecloth on it to keep the insects out. I do mine by a window when I open the windows. Yes, you can look for Sandra Hunt, a lady of Rose Manor at Yahoo. I also have a cooking page on Facebook. It's called by the same name, America's Home Cooking. And you'll see, I think, you'll see me there, I think. I am the creator, and I have two monitors. One is Brandy and one is Brenda. I go on it maybe once a week, but people wanted to see how I made things. So I was telling my son, this is very difficult because I'm on Facebook, and he was the one who said, go to YouTube. He said, you can do videos. I was doing videos. And then he said, all right, now you're comfortable, try doing lives. And I said, why? He said, people like to work with you. Rye sourdough bread. No, it's not. Good God. I'm 73. Don't tell me that. I'm not going to believe that, and don't put false things there. If you have a weak heart, fine. I could say, yeah, we'll get a mixer. That's true, Czar. Okay. I don't wear nail polish, but when I'm in the yard, or if I do my shoes, polish them, you'll find some of my fingers are stained. I can't wash it off. It's going to wear off. Well, thank you for that, Dev. But I am 73 in a few weeks. Yeah. Or if you want to become a Facebook friend, my name is Sandra Hunt. You can look for my face, and we can become Facebook friends if you wish. But if you want to show recipes, or you wish to show a dish and you want me to see it, put it to my Facebook cooking page, which is America's Home Cooking. Thank you, Gabrielle. Okay. I am 72 at this moment, but it's not going to be very long. I have to get through February, and then my birthday will be following. Hi, Erica. Okay. See, I'm just needing to see if I can feel any of it that hasn't worked in. No, I decided I like the sourdough English muffins very, very much. So I said, why can't I always go there. So let me see what I could do with them. Okay. I just want to put some flour down here so I can roll it out. Not to work it in, but just to keep it from sticking so I can do what I have to do. Now we're going to roll this out for a bit. I think about 3/4 of an inch thick. Let me see, was it 3/4 of an inch you wanted me to roll this out? No, he wants it 1/2 an inch. Roll it out about 1/2 inch. And these are not going on a grill. We're actually going to be baking this. I am in the I'm on the outskirts of the metropolitan area. There we go. I'm going to have to pop this into the flour. Keep your dough from sticking to this. Just pop it into the flour. It sort of gives it a coat, then that way you can get them off. Now you're going to cut these as close as you can. Why? So you can get as many cut out as possible. And then we'll pick it up and we'll work it in and make another set. Okay. And you're going to put them on your sheets. You do not want them touching. Let's see, how long have I been cooking? God, I've been cooking since before I was 5. Like I said, that's why you add the flour so it doesn't stir. My first job in the kitchen was greasing pans. Learning how to grease pans properly, believe you or not. Oh, you missed the sandwiches. We already had those. We'll get one more on that one. All right, you're going to put all of this together that we just took off of those. Work it in until you get a ball again, and then we'll roll it out again. Now you do not cover these. We're just going to let them rise. It's not going to take long. They'll take off again. But if you wish, you can put a towel on them. It's not necessary. Like putting a towel on them so I can force them to rise a little faster. We might get a dozen. And that will be it. Yeah, my sons like cooking too. I am not originally from the metropolitan area. I grew up in Texas, in a small, dinky little town. But it was ours. I don't have to roll this out. It's so small now I can pat it. And this last little bit, you're going to make a small one. I mean, don't waste anything, you know. Okay, we'll pull you this way till we get you where I want you to go. And one small. That's it. I'll wash my hands and I'll give you the information. My kitchen's warm enough. I should be fine right here for them to rise. I have to wait till they'll swell. They're not really going to double. They're going to swell, and you'll see it. You can't miss it. Okay. All right. I think it's page 11. Okay. You want to start a culture. If you're going to put it outside in the spring, you don't want it cold, but you want it a nice spring day when the winds is picking up and stuff and the flowers are starting to bloom and stuff. I always keep mine on the inside, but as soon as I open the windows, this is what I do. But if you're going to put it outside, remember you're going to have to put cheesecloth over it to keep the insects out of it because they'll want to get to it. You're going to need good quality bread flour. You cannot use all-purpose because all-purpose is spring and winter wheat. You need that winter wheat. All right, so it's known as bread flour. You need 2 cups of that. Then you're going to add 1.5 cups of warm water. Now when they say warm water, they're talking body temperature. In other words, if you put it on your wrist and you can't feel it, you've got it at 98.6. all right. If you want just a little bit warmer than that, you can. Now what you do is you beat that. All right, beat it really good. You're going to put it in a glass. Well, I use the ceramic ones, all right, that are glazed. I have over 50 seasonings. Believe you me, I've got just about every seasoning out there, okay? Let me finish. What you're going to do is you're going to beat it in the morning and in the evening. Now, they say after 3 to 5 days, but mine took 15 days, so I'm not going to give you a time limit on this because it would be wrong to give you a time limit. If you're in an area and there's a lot of microbes, you might go faster. Other ones, slower. It'll take longer, but be patient with it. What you're going to do is you're going to beat it like crazy, and then you're going to leave it where you put it, okay? Don't cover it up. Only if you put it outside, you have to put cheesecloth to keep the insects out. Other than that, you leave it open by a window in the springtime. And when nighttime comes, beat it again. All right, and they say within 3 to 5 days, but I can't really judge that. Mine took longer, so we're going to have to play with it. What you're going to see is bubbles are going to start developing as you beat it, okay? And you're going to beat it, and every day, twice a day, you're going to give it a good beating. If you want to do it 3 times, you can. So any microbes you catch, when you beat it, you're stirring them into the bread flour and water, and that will trap them there, and they start multiplying because they eat. And this is where you're going to get your sourdough. When it starts to swell and you see bubbles, you will see bubbles, believe it or not, and you'll see that it starts to swell. You have caught your cultures. You've got them. Get some quart jars. You're going to need them. At least 2 of them, I know. I use 3. Okay, you've got your culture. Now, when you first make it, it's not going to be real strong. It'll have a slight sourness to it, but as you keep on feeding it and using it as the years go by, because it can last forever as long as you feed it and care for it, it will continue. All right. And what it does is it has that beautiful, as mine really has a nice smell now, the sour smell. But when you first start, it's not going to be real strong. But when you get that swelling, you're going to have to feed this every day. All right. Now, I have recipes that call for liquid culture and recipes that call for a sponge culture. What you've just done is starting your sourdough and getting it. That's your sponge culture. What you're going to do is get 2 quart jars and you're going to divide it in half. Okay. Now, in the sponge culture, you're going to mark one liquid culture and one sponge culture. The sponge culture, you're going to give it 2 tablespoons of bread flour and 1.5 tablespoons of water, cold water, and you're going to beat it in every day. And it will, this is, you're going to be feeding it, make sure it's fed every day. Now, the liquid culture, you're going to put 1.5 ounces of bread flour to 2 ounces of water. You see the water ratios changing from each one. So make sure you have your liquid culture and you have your sponge culture. All right, make sure you don't mix them up. Mark them on the lid what they are so you know what they are. That's how you start it. Okay. So I have to feed mine every day. Now, sometimes when I don't have to make bread because my family didn't eat it, I have to sit there and I get an extra jar and I mark it as my discard. And what I use that for is I'll use it in place of milk when I make biscuits or muffins. Sometimes you might have to add a little more because it's thicker. Or I'll just use it for whatever I need. If I'm coating meat, it's much better than buttermilk, sour cream, milk, egg. Believe you me, everything sticks with it. So put your seasonings in it, and you've seen me whip it up, and you can do that. Thank you. Yes, you will see it. All right. Now, if you don't see the bubbles and you don't see it and it has a really a horribly sour, it's gone bad. Throw it out and try again. Believe you me, it took me 3 to 4 times. I'm trying to now make a different kind of yeast, and it's taken me, this is my second time. And if it doesn't work, I'll throw it out and I'll try something else. But this is what women did to learn how to do all of this. Almost, sir, almost. I've got about 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm going to be that old, 73. So that's how it goes in that aspect. And if I get this yeast down, I'll show you how you can make your own regular yeast and you won't have to worry. Now, some people will sit there and give you a fake sourdough. I went and bought bread just to show you. Now they said here, sourdough bread. You read that? Here's where they get the sourness from. Vinegar, grain vinegars. And I'll give you the recipe how they make a fake sourdough. It's not real sourdough. I could scold my teacher for doing this. I was shocked he did this. I didn't think he would. Now this is a fake sourdough starter. 2 cups of warm water, a package of active yeast, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and salt. That is not a real sourdough. A sourdough has over 4. Now, the yeast he's talking about that you buy in the store is only 1 microbe, and it's the one that was isolated from the others that sits there and multiplies in a hurry. This is why your bread rises within an hour's time frame. No, it's not, Matthew. It's a different kind of yeast. I have the book To Make Wine. I had to look it up because I wanted to know, but I was going in that direction. I said no. So what they did was they isolated this 1 microbe, which was the one that multiplied. And this is where you get the yeast that you buy in the store. Now, a sourdough culture has over 400 microbes, and each of them do something different. When you eat a lot of sourdough, real sourdough, if you make it, then you'll notice that you're going to notice some things going on in your digestive system, all right? Let's say they're positive. And when you make your own yogurt, you sit there and get a very strong and a lot of cultures. It's a sour taste. When you drink a lot of plain buttermilk, these are all cultures, and they feed your intestines to help clean your intestines out so you don't have to be so constipated. No, brewer Brewery yeast is different. That's for beer. It's hops. Okay? There are different kinds of yeast. This is what I'm teaching all of you while we're going along. But when you see that and you see vinegar, it's really, that's the sour taste that you think you're getting sour bread. If you go to a bakery and they sell you a 1 pound loaf and it's heavy and it's only about this big, believe you me, it's probably sourdough. All right. So let's see, that's it for that. So what else do we have to do? What else am I going to do today? I'm making a, I want to tell you about the 8th. The 8th of next month will be on a Sunday. I'm going to do this about 3 p.m. I figured that would give enough time. That'd be like lunch on the West Coast. It's going to be on New York time. That's the East time zone. For New York, you'll have to set it for that. We're going to be making butter biscuits. You're going to need flour, salt, baking powder, butter, milk. You're going to need a baking, a cookie sheet would be fine for that. Need a pastry cutter. If you don't have a pastry cutter, open a tomato paste can, top and bottom, empty it out, clean it out. That'll work for what you need to do. You'll need measuring spoons. You need liquid and dry measuring cups. There's a difference. I'll explain that to you. You're also going to need, what else? Oh, a pastry cutter. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you're going to have to use 2 knives. But I'm using frozen butter. I recommend you use frozen butter, and you'll need a grater. All of that you're going to need so we can make this. Yeah, he has to. Okay, Leslie, say hi back to your kitty. Chris? It has to be because they use different combinations of grains to make their liquor, and they don't want to give that recipe out. And remember, it's if he's got a patent on it, the patent is good for 100 years. After that, you're allowed to get the recipe. Okay? I guess it's Super Bowl Sunday at 3 o'clock. I don't know. The Super Bowl on Sunday on the 8th? I don't know, but I figured that's a good time. Most people are home at that time because a lot of women work now, so it's difficult. If I do it early in the morning, they're too busy running, trying to get ready for work, so that doesn't make sense. If I do it at night, I'm going to be asleep, so that's not going to help. Then I thought about noontime. My kitchen's busy. My sons are in and out of the kitchen, so that wouldn't help. So I figured Sunday, one would be at the gym, the other one would be working, so it'd be quiet at that time for me. Okay, so that's the time, and it's going to be called Come Cook With Me, and I'll show you the ratios, why we do what we do, and how you can change them if you want to make them more nutritious. So we're going to learn some things here. Now, if you don't use frozen butter, it will be a little more difficult to get the fluff in it. I grater butter and I've frozen, so it gives me that nice lift that we're looking for. And I'm going to be making light whole wheat, but you can also just make plain ones with it. I'll show you how to adjust the recipe for you on that. Okay. Listen, biscuits, maybe 30 minutes, okay? The most. As long as she doesn't forget that they're in the oven cooking, because they're only going to cook like 12 or so. But that's what we're going to be doing on Sunday. I tried during the week. People are working. I'm just trying to find it. This is going to be experiments. If it works and people do like it working with me and they're learning how to cook, fine. I'll write it down on one of the levels that I have, which will help people. Right now, everything is pretty much public. I have to clean this, but that's what I'm working for on the 8th. And if that's Super Bowl, I'm going to miss part of the Super Bowl. I did not know it was on the 8th. I haven't watched the Super Bowl in a long time. So who's playing? I don't think the Cowboys are, because they're at the bottom of the list right now when it comes to picking recruits, because they won a lot of the games. So The other ones are now doing. So who's playing at the Super Bowl? I even burnt soup. And believe you me, it takes a lot to burn soup. My husband said, "Look, I'm going to the store, Sandy. Watch the soup." I said, "Okay," but I was watching the Dallas Cowboys. I burnt the soup. He said, "You didn't watch? What's that burning?" When he came back, I said, "What?" I didn't watch the soup. Patriots with Seahawks. Okay, I look forward to seeing that. I'll probably miss 30 minutes. I'm not watching halftime. I'm not watching that. I don't like that guy. I don't like what's going on, so I'm not going to be watching that. That is a bunch of crap. So I'll be off at that time. And thank you, Jess and Geese. Okay. Oh, Wong tried to teach me. He told me don't try it anymore, Sandy. You blew it. Okay, so I can't do Chinese food. And he was from mainland China. Yeah, he said, give it up, Sandy. Just give it up. Sometimes there's some things, it's just like speaking a foreign language. My family can do it, but I am not blessed with that. I like some Chinese dishes. Wong made some that other people didn't get in the restaurant. We got what he got. And I wanted to learn. But with the flames, the way he did it, So that was something that I learned. Now, you can see these are starting to swell just a little. You see how they're starting to puff just a little? If you're not accustomed to it, you'll probably have problems noticing it. But what you're going to do, I'll read it to you, because that might take a little longer because it is cold. I'm cleaning my mess up while I'm talking to you. Yeah, I liked what Wong made, but he had to go back to mainland China. His father died, and he was the eldest, so he had to go back, to run his father's estate. He says that's the eldest, and I said, and my husband said, yeah, that's what I do. I have to take care of the elders and stuff because he was the firstborn. Firstborns do that. Okay, so I guess we'll have a part 3 on this when these rise, and then we'll bake them. You have to. Ben, I am doing very well, thank you. I have heard of that, but I'm not good at it. No, these are English muffins we're making. We're making rye English muffins. I'm thinking about trying making beer English, sourdough English muffins. Yeah, I go there. My mind will go there, and then I'll try. Yeah, Tren, I like to cook a lot. It does. Think about it. They use beer in biscuits. You can pour beer into making gravies and other things. Why wouldn't it work for English muffins? No. Yeah. Yeah. Geese. Yeah, there's just a lot of different ways. You get one recipe in the cookbook. Like I saw this, I didn't believe it. This chef said this woman made a bourbon cake. And she said, where's the bourbon? She says it's in there. So next time she made it, she poured a whole cup of bourbon. She said she wants bourbon. I'm going to give her bourbon. Boom, 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 boom. She liked bourbon. Guinness's potato. I would not even know how to do that. Ben, if you know how, go to America's Home Cooking on Facebook. I want to see that picture. Right now, I'm trying to think of making sweet potato banana chips that you buy, like you get in the store. And I'm thinking, if I dehydrate, just hear me out. If I dehydrate just plain bananas, all right, cut them thick because they're going to shrink up. And then if I make sugar water a little on the thick side and then spray them and then dehydrate them again to dry that up on top. I wonder if that's how they do it, but I'm going to try it anyway. We're going to see how it comes out. I don't know if it's going to come out, but I'm going to have to buy some bananas. I just want to try it because I've tried soaking them, and they did go to mush. I tried spraying them and putting them in there, and the sugar crystallized, and it couldn't dehydrate the inside of the bananas. But if you think about it, if you dehydrate the banana first and then get sugar water over them, and then sit there and dehydrate them a second time, would be dehydrating the sugar water on them, which would lock the sugar on top of it. It should work. Well, anyway, I'm going to be trying it. You know, I try these things, and I don't think you can make a Guinness potato chip. Well, if you're going to argue with somebody who has the best, that's going to be difficult because everyone's going to be partial to their country's best. That's why I go and I try different things from different areas, and that came from my husband because he had so many friends from all over the world. It was like a United Nations, and they were all artists, all broke. Every last one of us broke, you know. But anyway, they would mix concoctions together, and sometimes they came out with dishes which were fantastic. But listen, I'm going to have to let all of you go. We're going to have to wait for this. So there's going to be a part 3, probably in about an hour. They should be high enough. And I'll meet you in an hour, and we'll go ahead and get these things started to bake and see how they come out. Especially the anonymous make this thing even worse. Some people are like that. They just like making everybody, you know, miserable, say mine's better. Listen, I've had excellent Chinese food. I haven't had Thai food yet. I've had Southern food. I've had French food. I've had Italian food. I've had Mexican food. I've had this food. Some dishes I don't even know. I've even had some Russian dishes as well. I've had some vegetarian dishes that are good. You know, this is why I have a collection of cookbooks. And I'm going to have to empty another bookshelf off so I can make room for some new cookbooks. That sounds just like me. So I'll see you all in a bit. Just look for me. If you're subscribed, you'll know when I'm live, and then we'll be cooking these. But I've got to let them rise. I'm trying to get the kitchen as warm as I can. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit. We're just working on getting these risen so we can bake them. Bye-bye for now.